Hi, welcome back. This is question number 4. How did you integrate software technologies, hardware, and online for this project? The software/apps that I used were Photoshop, the camera roll, the camera app, and Dafont.com. These are just the main 4 that I've used, but there is much more that I integrated into my project. Photoshop successes. Some successes in Photoshop would be eventually learning how to do everything, because once I learned, I was very easily able to edit things, and it made my whole process 10 times better because I was actually knowing how and I wasn't struggling. And every time I was struggling, I would just get so frustrated and give up. For my challenges on Photoshop, it was really hard at first to learn how to move things around and layer things properly. And I think that was the biggest challenge because I didn't know how to do things. So like I said, I would just get really frustrated and give up for the hour, and I would go home and work on it at home. So once I learned, it was much easier. Some successes for my camera roll were that it helped me majorly when editing my videos, when editing my pictures, as well as Photoshop. Because in my camera roll, they have a feature on iPhone that can help with photo saturation as well as editing and cropping. There was no challenges for that app. For the camera app, there was only successes, no challenges, because I used the rule of thirds editing lines that the camera provides, and that helped a lot. In Dafont.com, that helped me pick out all my fonts, and it helped me test out different types of fonts so I could see which one looked the best. The challenges for that one would be just downloading it onto my software at school and then having to find it at home on my personal laptop. The sites I used include Photoshop, Google Sites, Dafont.com, GoogleForms.com, and BrushEasy.com. Photoshop I already talked about. Google Sites is where my main blog is, and that's where my main blog can be found. We did a lot of editing and research on that, and we put all of our research onto that Google Sites. We made accounts specifically for this project, and we integrated it into that platform. Dafont.com was already mentioned. GoogleForms.com helped with my target audience aspect of it. I went around surveying many people from school, seeing what types of topics they would like to read about, and I used that when editing my magazine and making my magazine, because a lot of people here are teenagers and there are some adults that took the form, and I was able to compare it and contrast to my magazine in my topics used. BrushEasy helped me figure out how to use different brushes, and I actually did use it a little bit when blending my colors together. There was no challenges in BrushEasy. There weren't many challenges in any of these sites mentioned. Apps include Photoshop, Snapchat, Photos app on iPhone, and Freeform. I use Snapchat in my project because there is a feature that allows you to blur out something but not all the way, and I think that feature is very useful because it has a very nice look and it's very appealing to my audience. Freeform is an app found on a MacBook laptop, and it helps you move pictures to one another, and it can generate different sizes that you like, and it helped because I was struggling very hard to try and figure out the right sizing for each picture, and it helped when moving my pictures from my phone to my computer. Hardware that I used my purple iPhone 14, and I think my iPhone really helped during this process because I was able to use iMovie to edit and all of my apps that a different phone maybe not offer. There was a challenge when it came to computers because on this computer, this is a MacBook Air, and this is my personal laptop. At school, they provide us with computers, but they are not as advanced and technological as a MacBook. At the school computers, I had very big challenges when editing my photos because they would just because it would be very hard on the keyboard to move it to a different size, and that's why freeform came in hand. But on the school computers, the sizing was very off, and it was really complicated to do things on the school internet. At home, I used my MacBook Air, which helped greatly. I used my MacBook Air for the majority of my project, and that's how it turned out as it did. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching the end. I hope I provided you with insights into my magazine, and thank you for taking your time to listen.